And welcome to our In Focus discussion tonight on National Teacher Appreciation Day. It's a day celebrated annually on the first Tuesday of May to show gratitude for the crucial role teachers play in our lives. Given everything we've been through during the COVID-19 pandemic, the event takes on a whole new meaning this year. Tonight, we highlight 3 local teachers and discuss how they've navigated the switch between in-person and remote learning. Joining us now in studio, John Arthur, who's a 6th grade teacher at Meadowlark Elementary School. John, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And this is not the first time we've chatted, which I love to see you in person this time. It was over Zoom a bit ago when we were announcing the fact that you received the 2021 Utah Teacher of the Year Award. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me back.
Of course, Kay, I'm going to keep going about you. You're also one of the 5 finalists for the 2021 National Teacher of the Year. So first off, how did it feel to receive this recognition?
As a representative for teachers at Meadowlark Elementary, teachers in the Salt Lake City School District, Utah teachers everywhere, it felt like vindication. It felt like we were finally being recognized. We haven't had a national finalist for Teacher of the Year since 1979, which is criminal. And it just felt really good in the worst year ever, as one of my students put it, to be recognized not just for the work that I do, but for the amazing work that my students have done.
This is just, I think you speak to this next question, you've already kind of spoken to it, but tell us about what inspired you to become a teacher and specifically to teach elementary school students. I can see in this video, I think you're a kid at heart.
I am. Elementary school makes the most sense for me. I can uplift children, secure futures, and play kickball all in the same day, so that's great. I became a teacher. She's probably going to get sick of me saying this, but I had an amazing 9th grade teacher named Mrs. Kathy Anderson, who's still out there here in Utah, and she inspired me to become a teacher, and I'm just trying to live up to everything she showed me how to do.
I'm sure you're making Mrs. Anderson so proud. So tell us, what is your favorite part of teaching, or what keeps you going every day, even during the hard times, because teaching is not easy.
It's not. No, and while teaching isn't easy, being a student, especially during a pandemic, isn't easy. And my favorite part about being a teacher is championing kids who feel like they're not seen or heard in our schools. You know, I work in a school with a ton of diversity, so I'm working with students who are immigrants, refugees, LGBTQ students, and I'm not alone. It's really nice to be a member of a community, both in my school, but also more broadly as a teacher in Utah. You know, there's a lot of teachers out there working right now really hard to set up opportunities for kids who just need a champion, who are hurting, who are scared in our schools. For example, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a rally for friends, allies, and mentors of students who are LGBTQ and LGBTQ identities in our schools up at the Capitol. And it's amazing to feel this community of teachers coming together to uplift children who could use more than we have to offer right now, but we're going to do everything we can.
Wow, wow. So what was it like switching to remote learning during the pandemic and then back again? I think your story is pretty unique.
Switching to online and then back in person was kind of like learning how to ballroom dance with a laptop in your hands. It was uncomfortable. You may not be able to tell, but I'm not the most coordinated person you ever saw. And it was tricky, operating on multiple screens and trying to teach content to a kid who can't hear you, who has a lawnmower outside, who just glitched out. It was difficult, but again, it was harder for them to be on the receiving end, to feel that frustration of not being able to get from your teacher what you need. And so I just tried to remember that I may be having a hard time, but I'm an adult. Imagine being a kid going through this.
And this is the thing, though. You have a mixed class. I don't know how many teachers are doing this. Talk about that. We talked about it during the break, but I think it's important to highlight the kind of teacher you are.
Well, myself, my 6th grade teammates, it's not just me. We all decided, instead of having one of us become the online teacher and the other 2 being in person, we all loved our students already. We'd built those relationships through those little rectangles on Zoom. So we just decided we would keep all of our kids and finish out the year. So I have about 2/3 of my kids in person and 1/3 of my kids online. And the toughest part about teaching throughout this has been meeting individual needs, no matter how close they are. Having the students in the room makes it a whole lot easier, but we did a whole lot of driving throughout the fall and the winter, going from house to house, dropping off art supplies or prizes that my students had bought in our weekly auction, and just making sure that kids, no matter whether they were in a seat or in a bed at home, knew that they were in my class and I was their teacher and they're always going to be my students.
I can tell you, being an online, my daughter did online school, and those little drop-offs from the teacher here and there meant the world.
Yes.
Did you already touch on it then, the most difficult part of teaching, would you say? What was it during the pandemic?
The most difficult part for me was making sure that every student felt connected to the school, and also making sure that kids understood that our priority isn't always academics in school. Their social emotional learning, their health, mental, emotional, all of it put together was the priority for us this year. And I watched all of the teachers that I work with and all across social media stepping up, and they weren't posting report cards or test scores. They were posting all the beautiful things that they were doing for their children. And this was an incredibly difficult year, but I've never been more inspired than I have in 2021.
John Arthur, you're inspiring us right now. Before we go, just your final thoughts, your message that you'd want viewers, students, parents to hear from you.
I want all students and parents to be kind to themselves. This may be Teacher Appreciation Week, but every parent, every grandmother, abuela, auntie, uncle stepped up to help educate our children. So this week and this day is for all of us.
My goodness, thank you so much again. For those at home, you're hearing from John Arthur, a 6th grade teacher at Meadowlark Elementary School and 2021 Utah Teacher of the Year. And I'm going to say again, one of the 5 finalists for the 2021 National Teacher of the Year. That is a big deal, breaking records. We appreciate you coming here today. Thanks for all you do. And thanks for staying with us for our second In Focus discussion tonight on National Teacher Appreciation Day. And we are recognizing and honoring our local educators for the tremendous impact they have on our lives and our children's lives. Joining us now, Heather Rich, who's a 6th grade teacher at Majestic Elementary. Heather, great to have you here and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
What a big week. First off, congratulations on being one of 10 Utah educators to receive the 2021 UEA and doTERRA Excellence in Teaching Award. How did it feel to receive the recognition?
It's great. Thank you so much. It's a really great award because I was nominated by a peer and then chosen to receive the award by another group of peers. So it's really awesome to be recognized by the people that you love and respect so much, who are in this with you. So it's a great honor. Thank you.
Yes, of course. I mean, hopefully your kids are telling you thank you, but for the days that you're not getting those thank yous, a recognition like this probably just helps a little bit, right? All right, well, tell us about what inspired you to become a teacher and specifically to teach elementary school students.
I have always wanted to be a teacher. My family will tease me about it, that they just knew that's what I was going to do. From the moment I could talk, I think. I was the kid who set all her little stuffed animals up with their assignments, and then I'd do all of the assignments for them and even make mistakes so I could keep a grade book and then give them more help on the things they needed. It's just something I've always wanted to do.
It's in your blood. So your favorite part, since you've always wanted to do this, you probably have lots of things you love, but what's your favorite part of teaching and what keeps you doing it every day, even when it's hard?
Hands down, the best part of teaching are the students. They make every day so worthwhile. The funny things they say, the hard work they put into things, watching them grow and mature and become the people that they're going to be, and getting to be just a small part of that is so awesome.
These are the things, these are the teachers. You're the teacher that, of course, every parent hopes that their child gets. More than a year ago, the Jordan School District initially made the decision to close down Majestic Elementary School where you teach. It was devastating news to students, teachers, and parents, and you attended and spoke at every single school board meeting until they changed their minds and decided to keep the school open. You have to tell us about that experience.
Even before the announcement, I had been going to board meetings because I think it's really important to be involved and active, and I never miss the opportunity to talk about my kids and my school. It's an amazing place. And then when the word came out, we had a ton of community support. We had families there speaking, we had other teachers, we had staff, and fortunately we have a board who listened to us, and a district who engaged in creative problem solving, and we get to stay open. It was definitely an effort from so many of us to make this happen. And I'm happy to say that we are going to be Majestic Elementary Arts Academy.
Wow.
And we actually have just a few spots open in some grades. So if you're interested, if anyone out there wants their kid to have this experience, call us to enroll today.
Wow, I'm happy you put that plug in there. Tell us too, going back to the pandemic and of course how it's changed so many of our lives, what's your experience been like switching back and forth between remote and in-person learning during this year?
It was heartbreaking when we got the call because I love my students and there's so much energy in being with them. But we made the transition the best that we could. It was certainly challenging for kids without internet. We did our best to connect them with resources and get them set up, but that was very difficult. This year, I've been in person all year, and that's been awesome, but also challenging. We've had students have to go out on quarantine. I had to quarantine one time. And we're just all doing our best to make it work. I think this year is all about grace, extending it to each other and to yourself.
All about grace. That's such an important word. Tell us too with the masks. I know that was that difficult for your kids, or were they okay to introduce the mask into their school life and keep it?
I'm so lucky. I have incredible students this year, and that's another thing my family always teases me about. They say, you say that every year. But I'm just blessed to have incredible kids year after year. And I think they wanted to be in school so much that they just rolled with the punches. They were so good at wearing the masks and the other restrictions that we've had to have as far as spacing with their seats.
Yes.
But they've been just awesome about it.
Okay, even before we go, we of course want your final words. What you'd like to leave with the viewers, and what's your message to students and parents?
Well, I want my students this year and my students of all time, all my former students, to know how much I care about them, how much I genuinely love them and want the best for them and think about them even still, even those I had my first year. And I want the parents to know that as teachers, we do love your kids so much. We probably talk about them almost as much as you do.
Tell us too, again, this has been a hard year. Do you think even those kids in person who wanted so badly to be in school, can you see that they've had a hard year? Do you see the weight that this pandemic has played on them?
It has. It's been very difficult. Like I said, I've had students who had to quarantine this year because family members have been sick. Or family members have had to quarantine, and you can see that they come to school thinking about all of those things. So just like Mr. Arthur said, school isn't just a place where we focus on academics. It's making sure that they're okay. And that's a big part of what we do and why I'm glad we can be in person. So I have that daily contact with them whenever possible.
That's huge. It's huge. This is why Teacher Appreciation Week is so important, because of teachers like you. We really appreciate, for those at home, you're hearing from Heather Rich, a 6th grade teacher at Majestic Elementary and one of the recipients of the 2021 Excellence in Teaching Award. You can see why. Heather, thank you for all that you do. And again, we appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And welcome to our third and final In Focus discussion tonight on National Teacher Appreciation Day. We are recognizing and honoring local educators for their tremendous impact they have on all of our lives. Joining us last but not least, Renee Peckney, social studies teacher at Park City High School and also the vice president of the Utah Education Association. Renee, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Of course, what a week. We are so happy we get to celebrate all of you teachers, because you really do, as we said, make it a tremendous impact. Tell us about what inspired you to become a teacher and specifically to teach high school students.
Well, I can tell you who inspired me. So I had an excellent 3rd grade teacher, Miss Blood, Mr. Mansell, Mr. Turner, and then Joffrey Homolia, who really inspired my love of teaching, but also my love of learning. And all of them collectively saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And why I decided high school is high school students are my people. I just get along with them, and I think I'm still a high school student at heart.
You know, high school, every age has its own, good and bad, right? And high school
Yes.
is just so many things outside of the academics that you really need to help navigate as a teacher, I feel like. So many emotions.
Oh my gosh, yes. So in terms of that social emotional learning and helping them to navigate just so much stress that they're under, especially if they are overcommitted as far as being on different sports teams or academic decathlon or debate, and just helping them learn how to use time management, but then also how they can take care of themselves and all of that self-care. And that's something that has been really, really important since the pandemic and since we shut down last spring.
Do you think you're going to be a different teacher because of this pandemic?
Oh, I think we've had to learn to be so much more flexible than we might have been before, and to kind of roll with, you know, what's happening, and to become more creative and definitely more technologically advanced for sure.
Oh yeah, that forced you into that for sure. So what's your favorite part of teaching? You may have already touched on this, but what keeps you going every day?
What keeps me going are, again, the students. This is, you know, who we live for. Students are at the heart of everything that we do. And in particular for me, high school students, and I teach mostly seniors, we can have conversations that are profound. They are so articulate, and they have so many questions, and they are just really, really involved. And I think that is what just keeps me going through this. And the first week back this year, I had a student send me an email thanking me for giving him the opportunity to be in person, and he talked about the struggles he faced last spring, and that he was really grateful to me for giving him an opportunity to be in a rigorous class, AP Psychology, and it just meant the world to me that he was so grateful, and that is something that I will cherish.
Yes, you should. You really should. You're also the Vice President of the Utah Education Association. Can you share why you wanted to serve on the Teachers Union?
Oh my gosh, I have been a member of UEA since I started teaching 26 years ago.
Wow.
And I realized about 15 years in that other people had been advocating for my well-being, advocating for my students, and that it was time for me to step up. So I started at the local level with the Park City Education Association, and then moved into the UEA Board of Directors. And it is just something that I feel is a calling, but also I believe in public education, and I believe that we need to fight for our kids so that they have a quality education no matter where they live in Utah.
Yes, so much so. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So what are some suggestions that you have for students, parents, and community members who want to support our Utah teachers?
Well, we need all stakeholders in our communities, parents, students, to rally around our schools and to help us really advance the cause of public education, to make sure that every student attends a great public school regardless of their zip code, to help us make sure that all teachers enter the classroom on day one fully prepared in a fully resourced classroom. And so we need just, you know, wraparound services, if you will, with the community. And
Yes.
we also want to say thank you for supporting us this year.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we only have about 30 seconds left. Tell us your final words that you have for your viewers, your students, and the parents.
Oh, I just want to really thank all of my parents and students, because this year we have felt so fully supported as far as just working through the pandemic, and especially with our remote learners. And because I teach seniors, they don't have as much, I guess, in terms of struggle. They don't struggle as much as younger kids. But I just want to say thank you.
All right, again, you're hearing from Renee Peckney, social studies teacher at Park City High School and Vice President of the Utah Education Association. Thank you, Renee. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.